became one of the most significant NBA legal controversies of the 2010s. Back in 2014, the NBA's new commissioner took only 2 months to make his mark. Adam Silver made a fortune where his predecessor, David Stern, failed. He banned and removed Donald Sterling from the league. Welcome to B-Ball TV YouTube channel. Today, we're going to talk about the loudest scandal of the 2010s, Adam Silver vs. Donald Sterling. But why Shelly Sterling's move was decisive? Make sure to watch till the end to find out. Sterling was a naughty persona long before his shamefully racist tirade. Originally an attorney and real estate developer, Sterling had conquered the NBA in 1981 by buying the San Diego Clippers for a $12.5 million paycheck. They were failing on the court and losing the cash off the court when the NBA was an afterthought to many sports fans. This was good old times before cable TV and ESPN took off, and where NBA Finals games were presented on tape delay. Teams were based heavily on gate receipts for revenue. Authorities were talking about league contraction, meaning franchises could have been terminated. Immediately, Sterling became a thorn in the side of the NBA. He swore to keep the Clippers in San Diego, but then, after league disputes, moved the franchise to Los Angeles, with the Lakers already basing there. This made the NBA sue Sterling for $25 million. Sterling answered by countersuing the NBA for $120 million. They settled. Since Clippers still play in Los Angeles, it's no mystery who won that settlement. Sterling also ruled his team in objectionable, if not illegal, ways. He refused to pay bills and bizarrely considered having home games played without a live audience to avoid paying for concession workers and security. Sterling also shared his hopes of landing the top pick in the 1982 NBA draft. Years later, he supposedly instructed scorekeepers to deflate player statistics to be paid less. Of course, there were also sexual harassment lawsuits brought against Sterling. Along with his wife, Shelly Sterling, he was sued by the U.S. Justice Department for discriminating based on race and national origin in rental properties. The lawsuit drove Donald and Shelly Sterling to pay a multi-million-dollar fine. And there was also former general manager Elgin Baylor who sued Donald Sterling for race discrimination, claiming that Sterling called his players poor black boys. Throughout all the scandals, the NBA acted like a curious bystander. The league took nearly no action against Sterling, who became 80 in 2014. He wasn't fearful of David Stern or Sterling's predecessor, Larry O'Brien. By all accounts, Sterling was encouraged to do whatever he wanted. That changed in April 2014 after Silver took over as commissioner. TMZ published an infamous recording of an argument between Sterling and his girlfriend V. Stiviano. Despite being married to Shelly Sterling for almost 60 years by that point, Donald Sterling had a girlfriend, and we all knew that. The recording included Sterling's hateful reaction to seeing Stiviano in a photo with Magic Johnson, a longtime nemesis of Sterling. Sterling became furious and shouted a shockingly racist rant. He aggressively asked why Stiviano would walk publicly with black people and take pictures with minorities. He also compelled her to not accompany any African Americans to games. The fallout was one of the biggest racial scandals of all time. Even President Barack Obama addressed the controversy. He called it a vestiges of discrimination and the legacy of race and slavery. NBA players also displayed outrage. LeBron James and Stephen Curry threatened to start a players' boycott and sit out playoff games unless the NBA removes Sterling. The biggest sponsors to the league and Clippers, including CarMax, Virgin America, and Mercedes-Benz, began seeking to terminate those deals. There was evident pressure for Silver to do something, but the situation wasn't so obvious. Silver knew that a fellow attorney, Sterling, wouldn't wait to launch lawsuits versus the league if Silver took any actions that could justify litigation filing. Silver also had to be mindful of the pattern. Whatever he did to Sterling would be an alarming precedent for other owners. Some of them may have even made insensitive remarks in private. There were also severe difficulties with the evidence. California is a two-party state when it goes to recording others. This means anyone on a recording must consent, or the recording is illegal. In fact, it's a crime in California to secretly record another person in various situations. The NBA also originally didn't know how the recording was made. Was it authentic and untampered? And how did it come to the hands of TMZ? As a private business, the NBA couldn't force Stiviano or TMZ to share any information. A league has no subpoena power. Silver was undeterred. Supported by League General Counsel Rick Buchanan, Silver quickly hatched a plan that boxed Sterling into a corner from which he could never run. Among other steps, the NBA hired former Assistant U.S. Attorney David Anders to interview all possible witnesses. This was important since witness statements produce a supplemental form of evidence to the recording, which may have been illegally constructed. The NBA also reviewed all the critical evidence and authenticated it. Silver then shocked the world with his punishment of an owner who had operated without restraint for 3 decades. "I am banning Mr. Sterling for life from any association with the Clippers organization or the NBA." Sterling was banned from any owners' meetings. He was banned from any league events and also fined $2.5 million. He was even forbidden from presenting on the games played by his team. Silver then declared that he would advise the Board of Governors to terminate Sterling's ownership in the Clippers. Silver was in a place that no other commissioner had gone before, and he did it after 2 months on the job. The NBA's legal argument to dismiss Sterling was found in Article 13D of the League Constitution. It considers that an owner can be ousted if he or she violated a duty that made the NBA suffer financial harm. Like other owners, Sterling had a fiduciary duty to avoid advocacy of positions that have a substantial adverse effect on the league. Here, Sterling's racist comments brought about a possible boycott of NBA games and loss of corporate sponsorships. From that perspective, Sterling's racist behavior in 2014 was different from his previous bigotry since his last acts didn't threaten the NBA with a loss of revenue. Would the owners have voted Sterling out? Under league rules, a supermajority, 22 of the 29 other owners, had to vote in favor of removal. Some owners anonymously worried about a slippery slope where if Sterling is ousted for comments, then other owners will face the same fate. There was also concern that Sterling, a veteran of the NBA for more than 3 decades and had attended many owners' meetings, knew where the bodies were buried, meaning possible scandals including other owners. They also knew he wouldn't stop to share what he learned with the media. The vote never took place. Throughout this part of the video, we've referred to Donald Sterling as the Clippers owner, but that is technically incorrect. The Sterling Family Trust, which he initially controlled, owned the team. This became a massively important distinction, and there were 2 trustees, Donald and Shelley. If either was considered incapacitated by a court, then the other would gain complete authority. Shelley Sterling then orchestrated a plot climaxing the trust selling the team to former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer for $2 billion. Without her husband's awareness, let alone his consent, Shelley Sterling had a neurologist and psychiatrist evaluate her husband. Later, Donald Sterling's attorneys would argue with false pretenses. They declared that Donald Sterling's reasoning and cognitive skills no longer let him serve as a trustee. Shelley then came to court to have her husband stated incapacitated. Ultimately, she won. Donald Sterling would file several lawsuits, including against Silver, his wife, and the NBA, but none succeed. He lost his team and remains banished from the NBA. Of course, Donald Sterling was well compensated for the loss. He and Shelley Sterling earned $1.34 billion post-tax in sale proceeds. But it was a decisive win for the new commissioner and one that engendered lasting trust from NBA players. But what do you think about the Donald Sterling scandal? Who made the most profit from that ban? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss an upload, and you can enjoy the excellent content we send your way.